Hello, it's your favorite sports Unc here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry.
The NBA world is awaiting LeBron's decision on his player option with the Lakers for next season. Rich Paul said on the Rich Eisen show today, "I think everybody's been on pins and needles for a while. I wish I had an answer. I don't know. It's early. I don't have a conversation like that. I go into each year like he's continuing to play. I've never even talked about that. Physically, he can play several more years. I don't think it's the physical aspect of it. I think it's where you are mentally. With these you guys, I think we put so much on the individual. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of layers to success as an individual. And I think when you think about him per se, there's a lot of decisions that has to be made. Going into the locker room, what's the roster look like? What's the approach to each player is? He's always going to get everybody's best shot. And so this is a team he's on with the history of the team. Roy, if I had to ask you, what do you think LeBron's going to do? Is he going to opt out, opt in? What are some of the factors that will go into the decision that LeBron is going to make to either opt in or opt out of that contract?
I mean, I feel like he's going to be in a Lakers jersey next year. He'll probably opt out and then probably maybe sign like a 2-year deal, a very hefty 2-year deal, probably finish out his career for the Lakers. It's hard for me with LeBron because I want to believe him when he says that he's not a part of the front office, conversations, even though, you would think the best player in the NBA right now would have his hands in the cookie jar and everything. But they got to, he's going to be back, but they definitely need to upgrade like the big position.
They need a center bad.
They definitely need a center bad. And then obviously, go Luka and then, how he got thrown under the bus, I feel like a little bit after in terms of calling out his conditioning. I feel like that needs to be like, maybe that's not what you're asking me. LeBron's going to be back, but I hope that they can, he can rub off on Luka a little bit to tighten up at the beginning of the season.
Well, they did hire a strength and conditioning coach. And as we talked about a couple of nights ago, Roy, I don't know if you heard us, is that a lot of these elite guys, they have their own guys. Mm-hmm. They work with that as far as weightlifting, as far as physio and all that other stuff. I know Mike Macias is with Bron all the time. And so a lot of these guys used to be Tim Grover, but a lot of these guys have their own personal guys that they train with and do things with. But it's nice to see. But I'm glad Luka's taking it. And because, I just feel like in the playoffs, he starts to wear down. And, it seems like it's back and he starts to move like he's 72 years old and he's barely 26. But Ocho, what you think?
That's my fault.
Huh?
What do you think? What LeBron gonna do?
Listen, he can opt out. I mean, he could opt in. Either way, he's gonna be a Laker. He's gonna play another 2, maybe 3 years. I think he's gonna do everything he can to stretch it long enough where he can play with his youngest son. Outside of that, what him and Luka had, it was special last year. I think he wants to continue that. I think he's gonna have discussions with Jenny and Pelinka about getting a big in there and getting some help. So they can keep. He doesn't want to just keep playing and keep opting in or opting out, but building a team around him where they can be in contention year in and year out. And whatever necessary moves need to be made, they're probably gonna be made this season. So they're just not going home in the first round and actually contending for another title.
What was your point you wanted to make, Roy?
No, I moved. I forgot that. I'll keep it moving.
All right. DeMarcus Cousins, who spent 2018-19 season with the Warriors, says Steve Kerr doesn't do well when it comes to developing young players. Boogie said the lack of development could lead to Kuminga wanting out this offseason. I think they lost Kuminga. I think Steve Kerr ruined that relationship this year with the DMPs. We've seen this happen time and time again when it comes to him and dealing with young talent. He just doesn't handle young talent well. He doesn't develop. Out of the years he's been there, we've only seen one guy develop under Steve Kerr, and they ran him off. That was Jordan Poole. When it comes to young talent, I just don't think he handles it well. Ocho, I'm going to start with you. Do you agree with what Boogie is saying?
A little bit. Obviously, it was coming from a player of his caliber, as good as Boogie is, knowing the game and knowing the coaches and understanding the players that he's had his hands and imprint on. I mean,
yes.
He's absolutely right. And there's an example of one that we've talked about this year, over and over and over.
Yeah, Kuminga.
Yeah. It makes no sense what he did. It makes no sense. And then when Kuminga does get the opportunity to play, look at the type of goddamn games he's having.
He balls out. He does.
This is who you had on the bench for whatever reason it may have been. Come on, man. Unexplainable. Unexplainable. I don't get it.
Roy?
You know, it makes me think about the there has to be, you guys know, there has to be synergy within an organization, you know, and I know Mike Dunleavy, he took over. We played together while I was a rookie when he was in Indiana. And, you know, there doesn't seem to be a synergy between like who he's paying and who he's bringing in and, you know, who the coach is playing. I think about Mike Malone in the situation with the Denver Nuggets, you know, Calvin Booth, I believe was the GM or president, and he's drafting certain players and bringing them in, and he wants them to develop them. But but Coach Malone was playing the older guys and the guys that he can rely on. So for me, and then and the organization ended up getting rid of both of them. So for me, there has to be a synergy there. And at some point, you know, once, you know, I'm not sure if he, at some point, is he going to be the Golden State Warriors coach for forever? Maybe there might be a timeline where he may want to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe when Steph is done, I walk away. And he's just going to go with the players that he knows as well. But if there's not a synergy between the front office and the players, if the front office is bringing in players that they need to develop and he's not playing, there's going to be an issue there. And if you're not winning, it's going to exacerbate the issue, you know, the next year and the next summer, because people are going to be unhappy. And you need to build for the future. Steph and those guys are getting older and older and older, and Father Time is undefeated.
But you know, the problem that they're having is, Roy and Ocho, is that most teams, when you're trying to compete for a title, you're not relying on young players. You're going with your core guys. Yeah. Now, see, you look at OKC. You see how OKC did it, Ocho? They got rid of all the old guys and said, you know what, we're going to take these lumps right now, but we're going to build this thing together. We're not we're under no illusion that we're going to compete for a title. But when we compete for a title, we're going to be able to compete for years and years to come because all these guys would have grown up together. And you see, the problem is you got Steph, you have Clay, you had Draymond, you had Loon, you had veteran guys, Iggy, before he retired. You had veteran guys. Man, I ain't got time for the young guy to be making no mistake, Roy. Because you know, the one thing a coach, Ocho, you know this in football. Oh, yeah. Coaches hate mistakes. And rookies going to make mistakes. That's just the way it works. And it seems like, and you see like Steve ain't got no problem putting no guy on the bench. Hell, he put Jason Tatum on the bench. So you know he ain't got no damn problem putting Kuminga on the bench. Go ahead, Ocho. You gonna say what?
Yeah, listen, I was gonna say you talk about young teams, you know, and allowing a young team to do what they need to do. But those young teams, when you have a young team like OKC, you know, as you use for example, well, hell, you can do that when you got an SGA leading them.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but you see what they did. Think about it. Oh, they trade for SGA. They draft Jalen Williams. They drafted a lot of these guys.
Yeah,
Chet Holmgren. They say, hey, they go out and get a couple of pieces to add, veteran, Isaiah Hartenstein. So now they go get Lou Dort. They say, they go get a Caruso, guys that have played, that know how to play, that plays their role. Because see, the thing is, the problem that Kuminga has, Kuminga is one of them young guys like, bro, I would try to go get 30. Well, in that offense, Steph is supposed to get 30. You're supposed to get like 10, 15.
Hold on. So you think that might be one of the reasons why he got on the bench?
He said that it's hard to get a flow when you out there with Steph because the offense is run for Steph. Yes.
He's looking off Steph. Yeah. He said he's looking off Steph.
Yeah, he's looking off Steph. He's like, nah, bro, no, I got this right here. You go into the corner.
So Kuminga is one of those that needs his own team.
Yes.
Just like Poole, I guess, you know, yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. Just understand that. You're probably not going to win as much. Jordan Poole, yeah, it's nice to average 20 plus. But we're going to be in the lottery every year.
Yeah.
So that's the sacrifice that you have to make. And a lot of times guys have to sacrifice their game when you playing with other historically great players. You kind of have to sacrifice. They get, hey, it's like Pop. He get the big piece of chicken. So, okay, you ain't get the breast, Ocho. You get a drumstick. You get a wing. Okay, right. You get a short thigh.
Mm-hmm.
But and so that's the thing with Kuminga, I think. I think he's good enough. But if he wants to play there, he's going to have to understand how to play within that system.
That's crazy.
Because he needs the ball. See, it's not like KD. KD is efficient. KD didn't need the ball. Give KD 15 shots. KD going to get you 27, 30. Because he's that efficient.
Yeah.
Clay is a catch-and-shoot shooter. Kuminga needs the ball because he wants to drive. He wants to put the ball on the floor. He ain't trying to catch and shoot. That's not what he is. That's not his skill set. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. Roy, we're going to get you out of here on this one. You played with a young Nikola Jokic in Denver. Did you know, was there any indication when you saw him in practice and you watched him when he was on the court in the games, did you have any indication he was going to be this?
So I'm going to say this real quick. That was my last year in the NBA, I was on 3 teams in 1 year. That's why I knew my ass was done. And I was only in Denver for like a month and a half, so I was like a sabbatical. But I can honestly tell you this. That man, I did not see him lift a weight. I would see him in the locker room, and like his build is not what you expect. And I did not think that he would like go on to be like a 3-time MVP and everything like that. To me, what he's done is incredible. Sometimes I do feel that, towards the end of the series, even as great as he is, he having the ball in his hands a little bit kind of like slows down the offense and not allows other people to get going. I think Jamal Murray could have gotten like 10 plus more shots, but they've won a championship. They know what they're doing. But I did not expect him to be as good as he is. I saw Jamal Murray when he was, I think, a second-year player at that time, and he was still he had all the right tools. So that team, I didn't think they were going to be as good as they were.